that dehumanized, inhuman world, which is a heavenly nothing, right? It's totally cut off from what humans can get to, and there's nothing human about it, right?
Right, and this is what I don't like about metaphysics. It's very compatible with Nietzsche in this, in that it's not just about criticizing religion and obvious metaphysics, but really any time someone's looking for an after or other world, to be dubious that there's value in that, or that there's more than a desire to escape the world and escape the weariness of the world and the weariness of the fact that fruit makes your hands sticky. You want to eat fruit without getting your hands sticky. It's these kinds of urges, rather than just enjoying it for what it is, reality and all too human nature, all wrapped up.
Strange, this heavenly realm. Why doesn't God ever just get on the megaphone and talk, you know? Why is it always through some clown who's molesting children? Why is it always through somebody who wants to start a war or go on a conquest like the popes were always doing? Strange, this heavenly realm. Tell me, my brothers, is not the strangest of all things proved most nearly?
Yeah, okay, I'm not reading along, and I haven't read Zarathustra in a long time, so I don't know what's going to come of this particular statement. But the way I take it is that, yeah, if you want to be convinced of something really strange, it has to happen very close to you. So for example, UFOs. If it happens to you, if you are abducted, then you're going to believe it. And if it just happens to some cousin of a friend of a person that you met at a coffee shop, then you're less likely to be convinced. And that's the way I took that, at least on first blush.
Yeah, I guess, easily, and look right here, there's really strange things can be proved just like that. This creating, willing, valuing ego. Man is the measure of all things. Man is the measure. A new pride my ego taught me, and this I teach men. No longer to bury one's head in the sand of heavenly things, but to bear it freely, an earthly head, which creates a meaning for the truth. Is the earth good enough? Is it important enough? It's all we've got here. This is the only place we're ever going to be able to find any meaning. So get comfy. It was the sick and decaying who despised body and earth.
See, this is the reason I'm taking my time to defend Nietzsche at all, when in a way I think the man himself cannot be defended, is not meant to be defended. But this kind of language from him, because he's rejecting metaphysics, he's embracing life, and this is a good advice for a skeptic, where the skepticism is not nihilism, but it lends itself to nihilism. You're breaking ideas down, and you have to know where you're going to limit that. And the limit is that you don't break things down so much that you've disrespected reality and embraced some sort of void-filled version of metaphysics.
Would that there were heavenly ways to sneak into another state of being and happiness. But to whom did they owe the convulsions and raptures of their transport? To their bodies and this earth. Many sick people have always been among the poetizers and God-cravers. Furiously they hate the lover of knowledge. All too well I also know what it is in which they have most faith. Verily it is not in afterworlds and redemptive drops of blood, but in the body, and they have to have most faith, and their body is to them thing in itself. Again, they may tell you about other worlds and stuff, but they want power here on earth. They want you to put money in their collection tray for their church, who run those big mega churches in the Midwest, and they have people falling down on the floor with the spirit and stuff like that. I think that it's psychosis, neurotic. It's not just money. That's too clean a motive.
Yeah, money, you're right. It's funny that you point that out. Nietzsche generalizes it as their will to power here on earth, and money, of course, is a tool of power, and it's sort of covered by that. But I think maybe we're also touching an objectivist part of you, is that you want to make sure that it's not the lust for money, because that's a good thing, according to objectivism.
It's their desire to be happy through the only way they have ever been taught you can be, which is by impressing people. Their body is to them their thing in itself. but a sick thing it is to them, and gladly would they shed their skins. Therefore they listen to the preachers of death, and themselves preach afterworlds. Listen rather, my brothers, to the voice of the healthy body. This is a more honest and purer voice. More honestly and purely speaks the healthy body that is perfect and perpendicular, and it speaks of the meaning of the earth.
I think it's important to note here this historical fact that Nietzsche himself was not healthy. He had lots of illnesses. But he also said that by having those illnesses and having to embrace life and overcome the weariness of life, even when he was sick and therefore materially weary, he said that this was the ultimate way to find the love of life. You know, at your lowest point, still loving life. And so even a sick person who's materially sick, so in the real world is sick, can still embrace that healthy side of their body, the part that wants to live, the part that still is and can live. And I think that's an interesting point, because he's not talking about, for example, healthy people being better people, really. Because a healthy person, physically healthy, can still embrace this weariness and otherworldliness and just simply not be listening to this metaphorical voice of health.
So don't worry so damn much about the sickly body. The healthy body matters a bit too. Now on to the next section. On the despisers of the body. I want to speak to the despisers of the body. I would not have them learn and teach differently, but merely say farewell to their own bodies, and thus become silent. You have your own rights. You have a right to try to reduce the number of people in the world. Go ahead, take a knife and kill yourself. I'm done listening to you.